carbon, blood, soil, germs, and...
Hello and welcome to Was It Something I Said, the panel show that celebrates quotations in all their forms, both the spoken and the written word. For instance, Tony Blair once said, "Some people would like me to retire, but I never will." Adding, "That was 11 words, that'll cost you $1,100. On Mickey Flanagan's team is Canadian comedian Catherine Ryan, and with Richard Ayoade is British comedian Bob Mortimer. Here to read our quotations is someone who once said of the Dalai Lama, "We share a passion of boxing. We used to do a little bit of light sparring." It says a lot about the man that within minutes of meeting him, the Dalai Lama, the embodiment of peace, compassion and enlightenment, fancied a fight. Please welcome actor and explorer, Brian Blessed. Welcome, Brian. Did you really have a fight with the Dalai Lama?
Yes, he's my age, exactly my age. And he had Joe Lewis's boxing gloves, 2 pairs. And so I used to be Yorkshire's schoolboy boxing champion, so I boxed him. You know, so he was absolutely dreadful. Look out, Joe. Watch it. Keep your hand up.
Did you beat the crap out of him?
Oh, no, I'd let him win. He was so sweet, a little bash on the chin, and down I went for the full count.
Well, that's very respectful to a living god.
Yes.
Right, let's get going with our opening round called Threesomes. Nothing to do with what Russell Brand would call a quiet night in. In fact, it's matching a series of quotes to one of 3 celebrities, which possibly Russell would enjoy just as much as those meaningless couplings, if only he'd give it a chance. And if you want to play along at home, then follow @SomethingISaid on Twitter to unlock extra clips. So the theme of this week's threesome is painting. And can we have our first quotation, please, Brian?
If I were a painter, I would paint beautiful bodies. I would paint nipples. And I would paint Bibles.
Now, in a moment, I'm going to give you 3 famous faces to choose from. First of all, any initial thoughts about that?
Can I just ask, why are any of us, other than Brian, ever speaking?
It's a very good question. Yeah. Brian, do you have an answer?
No, I don't have an answer, no.
I refuse to speak. No, I'm not going to be this nasal and ineffectual.
There's somewhere out there who likes your weird little voice.
Well...
Even mine.
Thank you.
Listen to this.
And please stop flirting with me.
I'm going to tell you who the 3 are. I'm going to narrow the options down. Who said it? Was it music producer and hip-hop star will.i.am, actress and Hollywood starlet Mae West, or former President George W. Bush?
will.i.am's mind would certainly ping around, you know. I would paint beautiful bodies. Nipples, a Bible.
During the 80s, when I was an international lover and player for about 3 or 4 years, I was known as Will iPhone.
Bob, do you have any thoughts about this quotation?
The longest ever nipples on a human were just over 9 inches long. It was in Australia. Is this pertinent?
Yes, sir. I think...
Do you know, he wore a tiny little leather bra and he just...
coiled.
Like a Catherine wheel, yeah.
Like a garden hose.
Or a garden hose, Catherine wheel.
Or a cinnamon whirl.
I can't imagine George Bush wanting to be anything other than himself.
If I were is a phrase he wouldn't bother with.
No, because I don't think he sort of ever does anything or did anything.
He killed 100,000 people in Iraq. You've ever done?
Well, you don't know me,
How many
David.
people have you killed, Richard? I bet it's under 10 or something pathetic.
Don't be so sure.
will.i.am. Is that him in the morning? Is he will.i p.m.? You don't care. He's got guttering in his hair. That's what they say.
Have you considered the lady in the middle? You've not talked about Mae West. She looks like an artiste with nipples.
She definitely had nipples.
She was the first lady to say that women could really enjoy sex when they wanted it, how they wanted it. She used to say, "Come up and see me sometime."
Who do you think, out of these 3 people, said that if they were a painter, they'd paint nipples and Bibles?
I can say with absolute certainty it's will.i.am.
So that's your answer? Happy with that, Mickey?
I'm the captain, but as far as at the moment, I'm going with Catherine. She seems very, very convinced on this.
Richard and Bob.
I would say it's Will I Am.
I would also say it's Mr. Am.
Well, the answer is Will I Am. Well done, everyone.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
It was in response to being asked whether the Black Eyed Peas were still a purist hip-hop act. If that means anything to you. OK, can we have our next quotation on the subject of painting, please?
It may reflect my precocious nature, me painting myself in a bathtub.
Yeah, as a clue, I can tell you that all three of this threesome have owned bathtubs. So, I don't know if that...
George would never get in the bathtub.
Why not?
Too risky. A war breaks out and you're in the bath. It takes ages to get out and dry yourself down. She's a shower man, you can see that, can't you?
But then in the shower, it's harder to hear if someone's shouting from downstairs, "A war's just broken out." You need it to help deal with it. Whereas in the bath, you can hear and people can ask you questions through the door or whatever. You can get more admin done, I think, from the bath than from the shower.
Yes, because your PA could lie under the bath. That would be perfect.
They could be under the water, Bob.
There's a war on. So who do you think it is? Who's precocious and self-painting in the bathtub?
I'd say it's Mae West. She's precocious.
You think Mae West, precocious and a bit saucy, the implication of nudity that so often comes with having a bath. Not for me, of course. I wear trunks. What do you think?
I think it's Will I Am.
You're not a fan of Will I Am, I sense.
I feel I've spent less time thinking about Will I Am than perhaps I ought to have.
I already feel I've said Will I Am more times than I wish I ever had to.
Yeah, I feel somehow that I'm being forced into a verbal pattern that I don't wish to adopt by his very name. I don't have to go up in the middle in a name.
No.
It's forcing me that way.
We should be able to handle it.
I
we
mean,
can handle
why not?
Arthur C. Clarke, can't we?
But that's in between different sections of his name.
Oh, I see what it's... Oh, it's
the
William.
thing.
It's in the middle of
Oh,
William.
right, it's William.
I was going to change my name to Mick KY.
No, you're both wrong. The answer is George Bush. His paintings first came to light in February when his family email account was hacked and several self-portraits, presumably because his password was password. Several self-portraits showing the ex-president in the bath were put online. Yes, here's Bush's painting of himself in the bath. And here's Bush's painting of himself in the shower. And just out of shot is someone being waterboarded.
He's not using that shower to its full potential, is he?
No, it's not.
It's not how he goes in every day. He just goes, I go in every day, I soap up, and then I can't get it off me.
His PA could adjust the head.
Do you think that's the reflection of his PA in the mirror? Brian, speaking of art, you, I believe, have met Picasso. Is that right?
Yes, I have. There's no end to my talents. I was 12 years of age. It was 1948. There was a World Peace Congress. No more wars. And the Russians got together, and the Americans and generals. They all came to Sheffield. It was an amazing occasion. And Picasso was there. And I got in front of all my classmates and said, "If you're Picasso, draw me something." And he drew a dove of peace in about 20 seconds, less. And I looked at it and I said, "Well, sure, that's not a dove." I said, "I'll draw you a dove." And I drew him a dove, and I gave it to him, and he looked at it. And I turned this down.
So
And you can see it in Sheffield, at the art gallery in Sheffield, and it's valued at £57 million. And my father wouldn't talk to me for about a month.
I'm never sure how long you're supposed to look at paintings for. They should have a little symbol at the side of each painting, how long you have to look at it for, what emotion you should feel. For people like me, like 7 seconds, compassion. And you're gone.
So, the next round is called Keywords. I'm going to give our panellists 2 keywords from a famous quotation, which they should know, and they have to work out the whole thing. I'll give the point to whoever's closest to getting it completely right. Just to make it a bit more exciting, if our panellists can't guess it, I'm going to have them shot. OK, here's one from American industrialist and founder of the Ford Motor Company, Henry Ford, taken from his autobiography, My Life and Work, in 1922. So, Brian, can we have the two keywords, please?
Customer and colour.
Say what you like about Ford, he never fell down the stairs, did he? Never took any chances on the stairs.
Yeah, he is in very careful descent there.
Henry Ford's family is from Cork, and my family is from Cork. And he's so successful, like a multi-billion-dollar American industry man. But how come Ireland is so poor? Don't they get, like, a little piece of Ford?
He didn't make the money when he was in Cork, did he?
I know, but don't, like, rappers buy their mama house.
Right.
Will.i.am never would have let Ireland suffer the way it is. Henry Ford, nothing.
I'm starting to think he's a piece of shit.
Well, he was a piece of shit, really, though. He was a horrible anti-Semite.
Oh, then was the quote, respect for every customer of every colour, except that one.
Well, yeah.
Well, this is something to do with the first big production car, wasn't it?
Model T.
The Model T, exactly.
Yeah.
He's referring to his announcement in 1909 that Ford were going to build only one model of car, the Model T.
Is it like the customer can have any colour of car they like as long as it's black?
That is basically right.
Yeah.
In fact, he was an anti-Semite, but he wasn't racist against black people. So he was selectively racist, which, I don't know if that's better or worse. It's just different, really,
I
isn't
think
it?
all racism, by its nature, is selective. That's what's great about it.
Yes, that's it. But no, you're so completely right. I don't think I can let Mickey and Catherine guess anymore. I just think I have to get the complete quotation from Brian, please.
Any customer can have a car painted any colour that he wants, so long as it is black.
Ford suggested the use of black from 1914 to 1926 due to the cheap cost and durability of black paint. Which world leader had a life-size picture of Ford by his desk?
Idi Amin.
No.
Stalin.
No.
Churchill?
No.
Hitler.
Hitler.
Oh.
Hitler.
Classic
He
Hitler.
just gets nicer and nicer, Henry Ford, doesn't he?
Did he send him the picture saying, "Dear Adolf, with best wishes for your future endeavours"?
It was... Basically, yes. Hitler greatly admired Ford's writings on production. The Model T had inspired the Volkswagen Beetle, which is the only car to have been produced in greater numbers. As the motor car took over from the horse-drawn cab, Henry Ford borrowed the idea of using a moving assembly line from the meatpacking industry, which uses horses in a rather different way. So, at the end of our keywords round, I can tell you that Richard's team is in the lead. Over the break, see if you can complete this quotation from actor Jack Nicholson from an interview in 2006 offering some moral guidance. There's only two people in your life you should lie to. What or who? You can tweet your answer to @somethingIsaid, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Was It Something I Said? Before the break, we asked you to complete this quotation from Jack Nicholson. There's only two people in your life you should lie to. Any thoughts, panel?
Yourself and everyone else.
Your granny about the smell? Your girlfriend about your batting average?
You're warm. You're warm there.
I don't lie to anyone, ever.
You
That's not a
never lie.
No, the truth shall set you free. What happens in the dark shall come to light. You don't do it, Mr. Mitchell, ever.
But society functions on lies. Through exchanging insincere compliments.
See, that's all very British to me. And we're not so polite.
Was it just what's a party like in Canada? Shut up, you. I'd rather be sitting down. I expect you're more right-wing than I'd like. I expect you're more left-wing than I'd like.
I didn't even want to come.
I told you this was a bad idea, darling. When are we getting divorced?
I love lying.
Who are the two people in your life that you lie to most? Maybe
My little boy and my wife. How else are you going to survive in a marriage? Come on. By being honest, by going home and going, what the fuck have I done? Oh, good God, I could be doing anything now, but I've got to look after that little fucker.
Jack Nicholson, I can tell you, as a clue, is no longer married.
Maybe you should let your wife and your girlfriend.
Girlfriend? Yes, that's girlfriend. And one other.
Your girlfriend's detective?
Look in the corner shop who sells me wine.
What did you tell him?
I told him I don't go anywhere else. The police.
The police!
Yeah.
Well done.
You know he died in that film, The Shining, in the maze, didn't he?
No, the character he played.
I thought he'd livened up a bit.
Yeah, no, he...
Well, I was going to say, if ever you're trapped in a maze, you know how to get out of a maze. Just keep turning left. If you keep going left and left and left and left and left, eventually you'll get out of any maze.
That's a
Well,
very good
thanks
tip.
for ruining mazes for me. My one way of relaxing.
When I go back to Hampton Court, I hope my son's worked that out. I really do.
In 1994, Jack was involved in a road rage incident on the way to play golf when he hit a man's car with his driver. It's unclear who was more upset, the car's owner or Jack's driver for being swung round by the ankles. Time for another. Here's one from legendary filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock in 1963, talking about something he's scared of. Have you ever seen anything more revolting than what? Any thoughts, panel?
A man with a great big beard and moustache trying to eat a Scotch egg. You've seen it, it's horrible. Because sort of like the moustache sweeps the egg as they're eating.
Well, as a man with a beard now, I find eating a Scotch egg is easier because you get a second go.
Yeah. If Brian was to eat a Scotch egg now, people would pass out in this film.
I think in one gulp, and that's the best way to do it.
You just have it, take it like a paracetamol.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
I think they've half answered it in that I think I know the answer to this.
You know the answer?
Yeah, it's eggs, and I know the interview it came from was with Francois Truffaut.
Fucking well done!
He said the yolk is like blood. He ate food privately and kind of really in a hoardy sort of way, but had these certain things that he really disliked. And all of the seduction scenes in Hitchcock films generally are accompanied with a meal.
Well, what he actually said about blood, he said blood is jolly, red, but egg yolk is yellow, revolting. I've never tasted it.
It's odd, because he sort of looks like an egg.
He also looks egg-bound.
Brian, can we have the full quotation, please?
Yes. Here's a full quotation. He says, have you ever seen anything more revolting than an egg yolk breaking and spilling its yellow liquid?
He was also famous for casting himself in his own productions. How did he place himself in a scene in the film Lifeboat, which was a story of shipwrecked survivors adrift in the middle of the ocean?
He was in the lifeboat.
He was the lifeboat.
No, he wasn't in the lifeboat.
He went past on a banana. His mates, they're on their way to Magaluf.
No, not that.
It was in a article for losing weight in a newspaper, and he'd just been on this big diet and had lost a lot of weight. And so there's a before and after picture of him.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And Hitchcock is both men. Alfred Hitchcock's cameo appearances have helped make his films very popular with cinema-goers, as his movies offer not just a thrilling suspense story or murder mystery, but also a free game of Where's Wally? Now it's time to play a round called What Are They Talking About? You're going to hear a quote that's been taken completely out of context, and you need to work out what that person is talking about. Sort of like being a High Court judge who's had a big lunch and has just woken up in the middle of someone giving evidence, and now has to work out whether it's an email scam or a drive-by shooting. This quotation is from naturalist and broadcaster David Attenborough, talking about his beliefs on a chat show in 2009. May I have the quote, please, Brian?
Nobody goes up to 19,000 feet just to make a joke.
So, what's he talking about?
Is it when you're on a plane and the stewardess comes past and you say, pull my finger? Is it true that he went up and lived with the gorillas? So is it something about going up and living with the gorillas?
No, I don't think it's about gorillas, because I don't think gorillas live at 19,000 feet.
But what is
Do they not?
19,000
No.
feet? Give me like a
Yeah.
benchmark.
At 19,000 feet, you're beginning to die quite rapidly. And then at 21,000 feet, you've got 16 days to live, even if you're well acclimatized. 28,000 feet, where I was, 1 day without oxygen, then you will die in 1 day. 19,000 feet, you're deteriorating. You don't want to stay up there too much.
Who could live at 19,000 feet, then?
Well, nobody can live there for very long, but you can go there.
I'll give you a clue. Is it someone who's pretending to be something? You go to 19,000 feet to put something on yourself? To pretend to be this creature? Then who is it?
Oh, that's too much of a clue.
Is that too much of a
Careful.
clue?
Back. But my
creature.
saying it's too much of a clue
Creature.
has made it a bigger clue.
Is it about Bigfoot?
It is. Well, let's have the full quote, Brian.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Absolutely.
No,
I buggered that up. I'm sorry. I just wanted to help.
No, well...
I do.
You really did.
I do, yes. I am absolutely baffled by the abominable snowman. Nobody goes up to 19,000 feet just to make a joke.
Yes, Attenborough acknowledges that there are very, very convincing footprints and that there is an unanswered problem there. So basically, he's saying that he thinks there might well be a Yeti. Have you seen a Yeti, Brian?
It seems to me that there is a case for the Yeti, Sukpai, whatever you want to call it, and different types. I did say to the Sherpas, when I was deep on the northern side of Tibet, the first time I went to Everest, I said to them, is there such a thing as a Yeti? Yeah. My father killed a Yeti when I was a little boy. I said, well, what did he look like? He said, he looked like you.
David,
Yeah.
can Brian say some more things?
Yes.
Brian, I need you to make a tape of you talking for an hour, and I need to hear that tape every day. Every day.
Oh, very well.
Good.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for, and a quick look at the scores tells me this week's winners are Richard and Bob. Thank you to Nicky and Catherine, Richard and Bob, and to our guest narrator, Brian Blessed. And we leave you with the words of author J.K. Rowling, who once said, "Death obsesses me. I can't understand why it doesn't obsess everybody." The answer being because half the world's obsessed instead with Harry bloody Potter. Good night.
Stunning performances and this year's winner revealed. Arctic Monkeys, David Bowie and Laura Marling are among the nominees for the Barclaycard Mercury Prize, Wednesday at 9:30 on More 4. Next tonight, forget about dying on stage. Toast needs to be more worried about being murdered in rehearsals. New comedy on the way.